Hi everyone, welcome to Handicrafts A to Z channel, and today I finally made a mistake that I can make this tutorial. So now you can learn how to fix the errors and mistakes, just like this what should be done here. I've already repaired this part and this is going to be fixing it now. Okay, so while I was streaming last weekend, I was so excited that everything is working fine and growing well. The carpet is growing, and that I didn't pay attention, that I forgot to change the pattern here. Just, it's boring, you add one and then continue weaving. So I've made a mistake in 2 rows in a row. So what I do now, I carefully pick up both wefts, blue and white, and I carefully, I don't know if you can see that, I'll do it this way, raise it carefully as high as possible. Don't try to pull too much, because obviously we're gonna put everything back together in order like this. So that should be enough. And what you do, you just carefully pull out all the knots that you've done wrong. If you watched the previous streams, in one of the comments there's a link to the shop that sells the hooks like that. And it's not only this, the working one, the bathed one, there are also the ones that we use for repair carpets, and they will be really handy in this situation. So if you have a chance to buy that, buy both, the big hook and the small one. As a first time weaver, you will be making lots of mistakes and fixing it. Well, first row is okay, but if you fix the problem that's been the layer before, it's a bit tricky. So I've done this part, and the white one, the dark one. Now I have to do the same thing for the next row beneath, and carefully raising it up. Now in this case, if you're working 2-3 rows below, you have to be very careful. Now everything here would be dark teal, so I'm removing all the brown ones, the khaki, the Kakadofin color, I don't know how would you call that, ochra, and carefully remove all. The most trickiest one will be the first and the last one to make, obviously, because you don't have too much space to operate in this case. And raise it like this, lift it up. So basically what you're learning now is repairing the carpet. Almost similar thing happens when you restore one. And let me see, done, yeah. So what I do, you always, if you're right-handed, you start from the right to the left. If you're left-handed, obviously you have to start this way, but generally, so what I'll do, insert the hook, pick up, just because it's been under the white weft, the order is the wrong one, and form the loop, insert, and pick up. Raise the thread can see that or not. I'll try to change the lights as well, even though it's daylight and I have a professional lights on, still not enough light for the camera. So I pick up the second thread and I tie the knot and I cut. Again, carefully insert the hook, pick up the first pair, and in this case you form the knot, the loop, and you pull it. It happens very slowly rather than weaving itself. And continue. Obviously the second row will be easier. Well, the first one. This one is the second repair one. And the first to make mistake. Just give myself a bit comfortable. This. And again, separate the pairs, get the first, make the loop, pull the thread, cut. You know, yesterday as I was sitting ready to weave the next row, and I thought to myself that the pattern doesn't match, and I was like, yoo-hoo, finally I made a mistake, so I can show it to you how to fix it. I've seen sometimes when you work in the big workshops, I've seen people doing fixing the error of something like 3-4 rows. So instead of taking all 3 rows apart, they'll just like separate the area, raise it up, remove all the knots, and redo the small piece, like 10 centimeter piece, just to fix a couple of knots. And so it goes like this. Okay, there's just a bit more left to make. The only reason I was distracted is that I forgot that the marking lines that I made in the beginning, I thought that would be the mark line for the medallion itself. But it was the outside border, so that's where the outer area of the medallion starts, and I thought that would be the end of the medallion. So I was weaving until I reached that point, and a bit of my distracted attention. Yes, you sometimes make the markings on the warp so that you can know that this is the center, that's the border of the elements, and so on. It's like advanced planning for the weaving. And if you don't weave for too long, like happened to this carpet for almost 2 years or so, and I forgot what the markings are. So okay, I'm almost ready. As you can see, it's close to the edges. It's a bit more difficult to fit in. That's why you need to have a smaller hook when you do the repair work, the restoration work, especially when you have the whole carpet and you have a hole in it. You can't obviously take it apart, and you have to work with the tiniest hooks so they can fit through the knots that are already in and the warp. So obviously you cannot raise it and you cannot fix it. So the small, tiniest hooks as possible. Make sure you pick up the right one, the right pair. And that's Rudy enjoying himself, chasing cats away. Chasing cats away. There's a neighbor cat sitting on the fence. So it's Rudy's duty to keep the cat away. Now there's only one knot left, and that would be the most trickiest one, just because there are threads from both sides. Okay, so I've done this part. Now make sure that you don't have these warps crossing. You might just try to pull a bit like this, so when we do the beating it doesn't affect the top one. Now carefully, really carefully, with just one corner, not the whole thing, and stay away from the white warp of the row above. Carefully beat it up, place it down to where it belongs to, and trim. Now the next row will be definitely easier. Excuse me, a bit of allergy. Now it's the 8 round ones that I need to make, and that would be easier. I just make 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I guess. You know, working on just on single row is definitely much easier, but still you have to learn how to work like 2-3 rows in mistakes. And like this. I had to turn the AC on. It's a bit noisy here now. The weather is cold, so the heating is on. And since this is just a glass house, it doesn't heat up really fast and gets cold pretty fast too. Again, loop. Now 2, 4, 6, and 8. Now the next one would be dark teal. be 3 pink. I had the pink thread somewhere here. You know, having a loom in a house full of pets is not really good idea, because they either knock it off with their claws or pull it with their teeth. This is what happened. So all the nice arrangements that you saw in the first video, how to turn the rigid heddle loom into the weaving loom, is now gone, obsolete. And I'm sitting among the pile of skeins, and hopefully soon I will get the proper wooden loom installed. I have it actually, but I have to find a place for it to fit, you know, having a full house, lots of space, but no space to place the loom. Okay. So I've done this part, and now it's just white thread. And it ran away, of course, as it should be. It always, the white one is always missing. I don't know why. White thread. So I'm just about to finish this one. Now, as I told you before in previous video in streaming, sometimes the thread itself becomes too tiny, too thin, and sometimes you might just want to fold it twice, or using not 2 but 3 threads. So that is acceptable. Just because it's a carpet loom, carpet thread, nobody is actually controlling the thickness. Just it happens with the knitting, because you can always control the thickness yourself. If you need it thicker or thinner, you can just cut and add the thread itself. It's not a big deal for the weavers. Just like the teal one that I have, is that it consists of 3 threads, and if you need it finer, you can just remove 1 thread and use it later on, and you can combine the thin one to make 3 threads. So each thread comes in its own thickness for the different density carpets. Like the ones that I'm using are for the density 50-60 knots per 4 inches. Okay, and now I carefully beat it back. And replace the order. And we can cut it and trim and see the fixed part of the picture, like this. And I'll trim it here as well on the other side. So here it is, the error is fixed, 2 rows beneath. So that's it for today. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye.